Hello, welcome back to Raw Talk with me, Dr. Cami and Dr. Brandee.
Hello.
So, Dr. Brandee, I'm just going to jump right into it. I am really curious. I've been hearing this a lot for years, and I don't really know a whole lot about it. But what are your thoughts about twin flames?
So I've also heard a lot about it, and over the years, after communing, a lot of my mind has shifted around the concept. So what came into me recently was this. So many people talk about the three different types of metaphysical relationships: karma, soul partner, and twin flame. And often people say, well, my twin flame is the other half of me, right? Because we kind of all know that within us we're like 70% masculine, 30% feminine, or 30% feminine and 70% masculine. Well, during a meditation recently, I was shown that my other 70% masculine energy was a part of me working on the other side of the veils, weaving in the things I wanted in life, saying that I am full. I don't need a twin flame per se. So then I asked, well, help
Mhm.
me understand what a twin flame is. And then I saw this flame. Like, I wish I can draw a picture of it, but it was a cute little flame. And then I saw this other being that was and also a flame. And the word they used were mirror. The flames mirrored each other. And when a flame mirrors your flame, you're drawn to it because there's similarities, there's the same energy, and a lot of people will take that as their twin flame. But then what happens is in relationships, there's one of three things that can happen, right? One is you can stay the same and grow together, and your flame will continue to mirror each other. Then there's those where one grows and they keep feeding their flame, and their flame no longer matches the other flame because they're not growing, they're staying stagnant, right? And then when this flame goes, people like, oh, I'm not happy, I want to get divorced. I just feel like we're not on the same page. Now, when that happens and divorce happens, then now this bigger flame is now looking for another flame that mirrors that flame, if that makes sense. And so this is why it's essential in hermetics or in metaphysics. We all go through different stages of development in the atmospheric experiences and what we're going through, what we're learning. So what we knew before, we learn more, and our perspectives expand, I guess. So this big flame is now mirrored this flame. And again, if they feed the flames, then their flames continue to mirror each other and they grow. But if not, then the same thing will repeat itself. So sometimes people say, for example, this flame meets this flame, neither of them, they're stagnant, neither of them are growing, but they're not happy. So then they get divorced. And then this flame flies another similar flame. So they're in the same environment, the same atmosphere, but neither of them are growing. So then they repeat the same cycle of relationships. They might change names, but they have the same mirrored relationship. So in order for you to expand your flame, you have to do continued self-growth, self-reflection, expansion. And hopefully you're with a partner that will do the same, especially if you believe that they are your twin or mirrored flame. Because if not, a lot of people get heartbroken when they realize they've outgrown their twin flame. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. So it sounds like it's just another way to explain another story that we can weave into our consciousness about working through trauma and adjusting patterns and adjusting and growth for ourselves so that we can almost attract in or manifest. So it's all very similar.
Mhm.
It's different stories, but it's all the same story, but it's a different way of saying it, is
Yes.
what I'm hearing from you. So when we have repetitive patterns in our lives, we can look at it from like a picture if you're really individual into visuals about what's my flame look like and how am I fueling that so that if like say what if my flame is one way but the person I meet outgrows me or comes in and you're like wow, and maybe that's where you're like, do I settle or are they settling, and like all of these things have like come to that inner narrative.
Yeah.
And I can then go, okay, well, if I'm looking for someone at this level. This is what I want in life, but I keep attracting people at this level. If you're looking at it like a mirror, you can visualize the flame that you have inside, and you're like, okay, well, there's a piece of responsibility that I'm hearing from you. A lot of times we're very quick, and it's easier to be the victim of like, life is happening to me. And when you take responsibility, it's not necessarily saying that what has happened to you in the past is your fault. It's saying, I'm forgiving myself for allowing this because I didn't know better.
Yes.
I know better now, and I'm raising my standard, and I can fuel my flame so that I can mirror and bring in someone who has that standard that I want. Is that sound about
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a great way. Now, as you're talking, there's a couple of things that came to my mind. So, for example, with your example, when you said, okay, here's this mirror, my flame's here, but I keep looking for a flame that's a little bit lower. And sometimes healers do that because they want to help others remember their flame. So
We see
they
the potential.
attract, yeah, their potential. So they end up dating their potential versus going, wait a minute, I want to help another being remember their light, remember their potential, and help, uh, feed their flame. And so then they date someone, fix them, they leave, and then they keep doing the same repeated versus going, wait a minute, I am a healer. I'm going to do this for a living, and I'm going to help people remember their flame. But I want to date someone, like you're saying, I'm worthy to date someone who's has a similar flame, but also willing to keep feeding the flame. So that's number one is be aware if you're a healer, you have a tendency to want to attract someone to help them be empowered. So don't date someone you want to fix, date someone who matches your flame.
Yeah,
Now,
and it's
this
interesting because that will. Oh, you go. You go.
Oh, no, I just want to talk
Finish your
about this
thought.
real quick, if that's
Yeah.
okay. So, I often work with couples, and they'll meet with this at this flame, this level, and one's growing, and then this one says, they're just not the same person. They're not who they were. Why can't they just be like blank? And I always say, why would you want your person to be who they were in the past versus who they are now? Right? Because they'll go, you never used to be that way. You weren't always this strong, you were always this independent. And so they don't realize that this person's done work where they're staying stagnant. And in therapy, I'll say, okay, well, don't we want to be excited about us feeding our flames so that we can, as a couple, you can expand together. But sometimes there's an acceptance piece of that's not where I want to go. Maybe our purpose of feeding each other's flames have met their limits, and it's time to expand to someone else. I know people have a hard time with that because there's a belief out there that, once you're married, you should be married forever. And I do say that, 1% of the population have really found that flame that they're going to continue to grow with. But the other 98% of us might have a couple before we get there. So,
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I always like to point out with my clients and patients that as far as relationships go, I truly believe that it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. And if each person is coming into a relationship with their own mental health, physical health, and spiritual health on their radar, like these are the areas that I'm continuously working on. When we come together, we're both full people who can enjoy life together. And I'm not looking for someone else to fill something up for me. And when we have this romanticized idea of like there's someone out there that's going to complete me, you're always and we do this with love, with addictions, with food, with anything, is you're trying to like numb some kind of a pain, that loneliness that we all have. We do because we have to find our way back to the divine, and that's where we feel whole. But when you put that on somebody else, if somebody puts that on you, like you're supposed to complete me, I wouldn't know where to begin. I can help you grow, or I can help, give you ideas, but
yeah.
I don't know how to complete you, and so we have to take that responsibility piece, and we have to, our brains are designed to either focus on fear and survival or goals. And when
Yeah.
we focus on, and attention is the beginning of devotion, right? Mary Oliver. And
Yeah. Like it.
when you put attention on yourself, you're devoted to all of your being. And the the action, the way to get out of fear is action. Like that's the counter piece. So if you are looking for someone else to fill up and take action for you, you're not going to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say I want a partner who might see, so say we're both, that flame, like you talked about, and we have our own light, but then this partner sees that I'm dimming a little bit. And so I'm very visual. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, honey, you're dimming a little bit. I've noticed that you're anxious, or I noticed that you're stressed, or I noticed that you're withdrawing. And I go, instead of going, well, you blank or projecting, I take that as, ooh, my partner loves me so much that they're noticing my flames dimming. But they also know that it's my responsibility to figure out the why. And even if I say I need more time with you or I need blank, I'm still the one saying what I need versus make another person, believe they have to read my mind or come up with the solutions. But it's like, oh, thank you so much for loving me enough that when you see me dimming, you're willing to go, hey, I'm helping you with your flame, but you got to do your part. Or he said you got to meet. And so if my husband says, and he has said this to me before, he's like, honey, you seem really anxious when blank, when we go to the grocery store. And I could have been like, yeah, and or like get mad or defensive and reactive, which a lot of people do with their partners, versus going, oh, my husband loves me so much that he notices it's a problem. So then I went inward and said, yeah, I do that, and this is why, and I found a solution. And so then that lit my flame up some more. And if I did
Mhm.
the same thing for him, hey, I noticed you're not, you know, doing this for yourself, you're not showing up this way. He should be able to say, my wife loves me so much that she's seeing that I'm dimming and she's asked me to do reflection so that I can get that going. Now, there's so many healers out there, like, you do what life coaching and you're an acupuncturist, and you have all these tools that can help people feed their flame, but they have to do the actionable steps to take what you give them, take the tools that you've taught them and apply them to their life day to day. Sometimes healers get this idea that number one, they'll say, oh, I don't heal them, the person heals. Well, no, we both have a part in this process. Like, we're both healers, the person being healed and the person holding the space for the person, right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, to
Yeah.
dismiss, like when you've done a session on me in the past, so I can experience acupuncture, and it really got those energy flows and the chakra systems and the meridians flowing to where it lets my flame more to go, oh, I need to do blank. I could have went to you, felt great in session, and then not apply a single thing to my life, but that's me causing that own pain. So going back to these flames, the mirror flames or the twin flames, it becomes dangerous when people use the word twin flame, like you said, to say you have to feel me versus saying mirror flamed. Which, if you think about twins, like physical twins, they're not the same person. They have a lot of mirroring characteristics, but they're still their own being. You wouldn't take a twin and say, "Oh, you can't be a twin without this this twin. You can't be complete without it." Does that make sense? Physically,
Yeah.
if you think about it in a physical way.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'm going to circle back a little bit because I really like what you said about, the in a relationship having someone care about and notice enough to bring stuff up, and the defensive piece that we tend to always get. And I think it's interesting because when you start bringing your healing and your attention onto yourself and
Mhm.
your self development, um, you kind of begin to crave criticism on some level because it's a way to look outside of the bubble, because you can only self-reflect so much, and then someone's like, hey, and immediately the sting, oh, that sting of being like, what, I am not, oh, and you just want to get defensive. And it's really interesting when I say it to my husband all the time, I'm like, you're not wrong, but you're not right.
And then you need a few days. Yeah.
Yeah, we see that. And it's an opportunity to like really look at, and I like that practice of how am I as a mother? What's it like to have me as a mom? What's it like to have me as a partner?
Yeah.
And when you get these little insights of like, well, you're really bad with money, or you're like quick to yell or whatever. And it's like, well, because anger is a justifiable emotion, so then you get defensive. But instead, if you can like just sit with it and go, well, okay, yeah. And it's something, it's men have, I was listening to Allison Armstrong, and she was saying that men have like a 5 filter system for criticism. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can give them something and they're like, is that true? Yes, no, no. Okay, it's out the door. I don't care. It's not
Yeah.
true. I don't believe it. Yeah, okay, it's true. It's something I want to change right now. Yes, no. And it goes like through this
Mhm.
thing, and they're not going to change until it comes back up the priority list. And they're like, okay, now I'll do it. And with
Yeah.
women, we have like none, maybe one, I think she said. I can't remember exactly, but it's like, oh, someone gave you a look, or like, really, that color? And you'll never wear that lipstick ever again, like that color. And so it's like, we can like just live off criticism for years, but we're really bad with compliments. So I think it's just really interesting to bring that up of like, it's not, even if it is criticism, maybe it's there for you to reflect on, and it always comes back to you. And when we talk about manifesting and creating the life you want and bringing in the love of your life and all of these things, it's very interesting that it's always a mirror. Your reality is always a mirror of your internal world. So
Yeah.
if your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are one thing, and you don't like the reality around you, it's like one of my favorite parenting mantras is control the environment, not the child, right? So it's, let's shift and change our environment so that it mirrors differently, because what you seek, you find. So if you're seeking a higher level partner, you're seeking this flame, this bright, beautiful flame, you have to mirror that inside, and you have to give yourself, and finding that path to self-love is very unique. And anyone who's gotten to that point has spent a lot of time searching and finding teachers and online videos and people like you and I who give certain advice that they like, oh, I get this. This makes sense to me and I can apply it.
Yeah.
And some people listen to me and probably listen to you, and you're like, okay, they are delulu. Like, I don't follow what they're saying. And that's okay. That's okay. Our hearts are meant to be drawn to certain teachers and certain people because we need to hear things at a certain way in a certain time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking about all that, when you were talking about parenting, you were talking about, changing your environment, all of a sudden I saw little flames in the house, right? And all of our children, our spouses, they can all be our twin flames because we're mirroring. But then where the struggle comes in is I had this vision. I'm a very visual person, as you know, as a seer. And I had this vision of like how desperate we become when we see like a flame that needs to grow. So then we try to control it by being like, come on, you need help. Like your flame is not growing, but it should be growing. So then that's where the divide can come in the house, is because we really want everyone in our household to mirror, let's just say, the greatest flame, just because our goal is to expand our consciousness, to expand, to love ourselves, to get to a point where, we're the greatest version of ourselves, living on earth as we are in heaven. And in heaven, we always talk about our higher self and how amazing they are. But it's like there's this gap going, well, you realize heaven on earth means bringing that down and living that version of you here. So if we know that we're this flame that, that needs to grow, we all do, then we have all these little flames in our house. So I had to saw this vision of a mommy flame really begging a kid flame, come on, see your potential, come on. But then in reality, you can only meet, like you said, change your environment and meet your children where they are, or your spouse where they are. And all you can do is hopefully give them little nuggets of flame. Because have you ever seen the video where they'll take a lighter and they'll put it in a cup and then
Yeah.
take the lighter out and they can't light it? So this lighter comes and lights it, and it's like, remember, the flame is always there. Right. And we all know that. That's why we have this desire to want to be loved, to show compassion, to have compassion. And then we're also taught that if we're not taught healthy how to do it, then that's when our negative responses and our manipulation, demeaning behavior, and yelling and screaming come in, right? But if we take a step back with this, I wish I could draw a picture of this little house. It kind of reminds me of, the flame on Elementals, that the cartoon, the movie, and
Yeah.
then just seeing all these little different flames. But I didn't even realize that till now, talking how twin flames is beyond just a partner. It could be your children, be your friend, because you're mirroring. We just let's say at the tribe. We seek a tribe, a spiritual family monad, because they're gonna feed our flame. And sometimes
Well, and
you have it, and then you outgrow, or they outgrow you.
yeah,
And that's when self-reflection is essential. It's like, why? What am I missing? Am I missing an opportunity to grow for myself?
yeah. What am I allowing? Yeah, I love it. Um, and what's really interesting, honey, not right now, okay, um, is
Deep parenting is a beautiful thing.
yeah, blissful torture. Um, what's interesting is that your brain it seeks these things. It actually is designed to seek it out. It's designed to stay in survival mode or to go in goal mode. And it's that focus. You can
Yeah,
pick. But it's almost like we're dropped into the earth as in the darkness. And that's like the religion, all religions talk about it was dark and then there was light, right? And as far as your brain goes, it's like you're in your survival mode, you're in your amygdala, you're fast tracked into fear and stress and all of these things. And your brain, it's like that's where the freeway goes. That's where all the express lanes are firing to. And when we talk about your higher self or your higher consciousness, that's your prefrontal cortex.
yeah,
And when you start like shifting, you have to like, it takes time because, construction takes forever, as we
yeah,
know. And so it's like, it's that process of, oh, I got to get here. And these tools, the subjective tools that you choose to use to get to that point, it doesn't matter as long as, because that part's based on personality, but the objective piece is that your brain is designed to seek passion. It's
yeah,
designed to find your purpose and it's that metaphysical piece. And once you start getting into that, and you've done it unconsciously, everyone has gotten into a success. They've pushed through and developed grit and finished something that was hard. Everyone has dropped into a space where time got really funky and you had a great time talking with friends. All of this stuff is teaching your brain how to get into a higher consciousness and a higher place. And that's your prefrontal cortex and all that stuff, which actually starts to shift and all that stuff when you can do it consciously. But
yeah.
it's interesting. It's really fun stuff.
That's a lot of good information because you're bringing in the uh, biology with the metaphysics. Because we talk about the tree of life, and there's this middle pillar of integrating the right left pillars and creating a middle pillar. And what you're talking about is, we have to accept in a lot of ways that we are physical and metaphysical, and bringing in the magic from both sides of those, or the science, however you want to say it, right? So,
Mhm.
what do you think? What are some great tools that we can give our audience as far as understanding the twin flame concept a little bit more in their own lives?
Mm. Well, I think that let's see, to start shifting your your being, because I think we did a good job helping them understand. So if you don't send us questions,
Yeah,
we
send
can
us questions.
we can follow up. But as far as like some tangible thing that somebody could start doing, I always talk. I think I've probably brought this up before, but I always bring up the fact that self-awareness. It's like potty training, right? Like I keep pooping on the floor to I am currently pooping to I have to poop. And you have to go through that concept
Yeah,
of like, oh, I've done something and that I've done something. It's not shame, blame, pain. You have to go, okay, I'm going to use this as a learning experience.
yeah,
And then you'll go into the moment of like, I'm currently doing this. And once you start realizing, oh, I'm currently doing this, I'm currently like I'm on a date again with a bat, like red flags, or I'm actively yelling at my kids, and these are things I want to adjust for myself. That's the next step. So being in the moment and going, oh, I'm doing it is like
Yeah.
that. That's the awareness piece that we're trying to get to. Um, and then eventually you can shift to, I'm about to say yes to going on a date with someone who I can already feel the red flags inside, or I'm about to yell at my kids again, which with that one, I'll just like, if I hear that voice come out and yell my kid's name, like, fine. Like the last time I'll just go, and then they look like again, I'll go, I love you. And I just change the context, even though it's like the energy behind there is still like, but, so I would say the first step is, hey, now I lost my thought. Just give yourself some peace of mind and say, this is my goal. This is my overarching feel of the goal that I want. I want to be peaceful. I want to be calm. I want to be, hey, please be quiet. I want to be these things. I want to feel this way. And when you make a mistake, it's okay. We're supposed to fail. You can't grow without failing. Like I tell my daughter all the time, like, you're not supposed to be able to tie your shoes yet. You're supposed to be able to, you have to struggle with it. So it's okay. Just give yourself a little love is my first step. How about you?
I would add to that. I would just say I do tell my clients the number one thing to change is self-observation, right? So ask, who am I? What's my flame look like right now? Who am I surrounding myself with right now? Right. And if you're surrounding yourself with a flame that is stuck or in a different vibration than you, um, why? Just observe why. Just be aware of what flames you're surrounding yourself with. Are you mirroring those flames? Um, are you trying to learn something from those flames, or are you afraid of outgrowing those flames? Right.
Yeah, and that just brought another thought of my mind quick is if you do that, it's really easy to give other people advice and to see where they need to change and what they can do. Utilize that and go, okay, I took Dr. Brandy's advice. This is what's around me. I know what they need to do to change. Maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that. So number one, knowing that twin flames are more
Yes.
of a mirroring what you need. And don't buy so much into a twin that you lose sense of who you are. Number two, ask, who am I with? Who am I around? Self-observation, and if I gave them advice to change, what would it be? And then try that myself.
I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good chit chat about twin flames today.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that.
If you guys have any questions, please post it in the comments below and subscribe to Raw Talks with Dr. Cami, Dr. Brandee.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.